My sister said she couldn't afford a baby shower, so I paid for everything. But then I overheard her say, "She's so gullible, it's almost pathetic." Days later, I found out she had a designer nursery hidden from me. "I just don't know how I'm going to afford a baby shower," Aubrey sighed, cradling her baby bump with one hand as she stirred her iced coffee with the other. We were sitting at a little table outside a cafe in Asheville, the early spring sun warming our faces. "I'll handle it," I said without thinking, reaching across to squeeze her hand. "Don't even worry. I want to do this for you." She gave me a teary smile and squeezed back. "You're seriously the best sister ever." At that moment, I really believed we were as close as ever. I had no idea that just a few weeks later, I'd overhear her laughing with her friend about how gullible and pathetic I was for paying for everything, or that I'd find out she'd been hiding a luxury nursery the whole time. My sister Aubrey is 7 years younger than me. Growing up, I was always the responsible one, the one who did her homework on time, the one who stayed home while she snuck out to parties. Our parents had passed away when I was 23 and she was 16, and since then, I'd sort of filled a parental role without even meaning to. If she needed help, I gave it. No questions asked. When she got married to Colin a few years ago, I helped pay for part of the wedding. When they bought their house, I gifted them $2,000 for new appliances. It never felt like charity. It felt like family. So when she called me, sounding overwhelmed and stressed about money and the upcoming baby, offering to pay for the shower felt natural. It didn't even occur to me to think twice. I wanted her to have the beautiful celebration she deserved. I started planning right away. I booked a lovely little event space at Carrier Park, a sunny community hall with big windows and oak floors. I hired a local catering company that specialized in elegant but simple dishes, nothing too fancy, just nice little sandwiches, fruit platters, cupcakes. I found a sweet woman on Etsy who made custom decorations. The color scheme was soft green and pale blue, exactly what Aubrey said she liked. I even ordered personalized party favors, little candles with Aubrey's baby shower printed on the labels. Everything added up fast. Table rentals, food, decorations, a cake, games, prizes. All told, it was just over $4,300, most of which I pulled from my savings account. It wasn't nothing. But I justified it. This was family. This was love. The day of the shower, I got there early to set everything up. My friend Angela helped me string up banners and set out centerpieces. Aubrey showed up about an hour later, looking radiant in a flowing white maternity dress that hugged her belly perfectly. She looked so happy, and seeing her that way made every dollar feel worth it. The event went off without a hitch. There were smiles and laughter, cute games, and the cake was a huge hit. Aubrey kept gushing about how beautiful everything looked. I felt proud, watching her open gifts and seeing all the pictures being taken. It felt like the family moment I always dreamed about. After most of the guests had left, I stayed behind to help clean up. I was stacking disposable plates into the trash when I heard voices through the open window to the patio. I didn't mean to eavesdrop. I truly didn't. I heard Aubrey laughing with Camille, her best friend since high school. "I swear, she's so gullible it's almost pathetic," Aubrey said between giggles. "Paid for the whole thing without even blinking. I mean, who saves money just to blow it on someone else's party?" Camille laughed, and they went on talking about other things, but I stopped listening. I stood there with a half-filled trash bag in my hand, feeling like the ground had fallen away beneath me. I finished cleaning up as quickly as I could, pretending everything was fine. I hugged Aubrey goodbye, told her to get some rest, and left. I cried the whole way home. Ugly, gasping sobs I hadn't cried since my divorce 5 years ago. For days after, I tried to convince myself it didn't mean anything. People say dumb things. Maybe it was the stress talking. Maybe I was being too sensitive. Maybe. But something about it gnawed at me. Aubrey's tone. The ease with which she said it. Like she truly believed it. 3 days later, I remembered I had left one of the baby gifts, a handmade quilt from our grandmother, at home. I figured I would swing by Aubrey's house and drop it off on my way to the grocery store. I texted her to let her know I was stopping by, but she didn't answer. I assumed she was napping and didn't think much of it. When I pulled up, the garage door was open, and I noticed a pile of large boxes inside. Fancy brands I recognized right away. Restoration Hardware. Pottery Barn Kids. Nuna. Uppyababy. Curiosity, or maybe suspicion, got the better of me. I walked a little closer, just enough to peek through the side window of the house. Their nursery was already fully set up. It was stunning. Creamy white walls, a gigantic glider that looked like it belonged in a 5-star hotel, a crib that looked hand-carved. A brand new smart bassinet, the kind that automatically rocks the baby back to sleep, sat in the corner. Designer mobiles spun gently above it, little felt clouds and stars. Everything in that room probably cost more than my car. I backed away from the window, my heart pounding. I felt sick. Betrayed. Humiliated. It was obvious they hadn't been struggling. Not the way Aubrey had made it seem. They just didn't want to pay for a shower. And I had fallen for it. Again. I went home without leaving the quilt. It sat on my kitchen counter for days, a sad reminder of everything I had lost, not just money, but trust, too. I didn't call her. I didn't text her. I didn't even tell Malcolm, our brother, until a week later when he noticed how quiet I had gotten in the family group chat. When I finally told him, he wasn't surprised. "You've always been her safety net, Clary," he said. "She never learned how to stand on her own because she never had to." That hurt almost more than the betrayal itself, realizing that I had been part of the problem all along. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to confront Aubrey, scream at her, demand an apology. Another part of me wanted to cut her off entirely, but the guilt was like a knot in my stomach. I had spent so many years being the good sister. The reliable one. The one who picked up the pieces after every bad decision Aubrey made. Was it really possible, or even right, to just walk away? For a few days, I stayed silent. I didn't call, didn't text. I went to work, came home, ate dinner in front of the TV without really tasting anything. Everything felt muted. Aubrey didn't seem to notice at first. She texted me pictures of little outfits she bought for the baby. She sent a video of Colin putting together a stroller in the living room. I responded with short, polite replies, "Cute. Looks great." But I didn't ask questions. I didn't offer to come over. I didn't make plans. It took about a week for her to start realizing something was off. One evening, I was grading papers when my phone buzzed. "Aubrey, hey, are you mad at me? Haven't heard from you much." I stared at the screen for a long time. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I could lie. Say I was busy. Say everything was fine. That would have been easier. Instead, I typed, "I've just been thinking a lot about things. Need a little space." She read it immediately but didn't reply. For the first time in a long time, I felt a strange, quiet relief. Like finally letting go of a heavy bag I didn't realize I was carrying. 2 days later, she called. I let it ring. She left a voicemail, her voice tight and sweet, like she was forcing herself to sound casual. "Hey Clary, just checking in, give me a call when you can. Love you." I didn't call back. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't anger, really. It was more like mourning. Mourning the sister I thought I had. I told Malcolm what happened. He was supportive but cautious. "Just be ready," he warned. People like Aubrey, when they realize their easy lifeline is gone, they either come clean or they double down. It didn't take long to see which way she'd go. Aubrey started posting more on Facebook and Instagram, pictures of her and Colin shopping for baby stuff, captions about hardworking parents making it happen. The designer nursery I had discovered started appearing in the background of her posts. It stung every time I saw them. Not because she had nice things. I didn't begrudge her that. It was the lying. The manipulation. The way she had looked at me that day, smiling sweetly while probably laughing behind my back. Family isn't supposed to feel like a transaction. Family is supposed to be safe. A couple of weeks passed. I didn't reach out. Neither did she. I kept busy with work, saw a few friends for coffee, went hiking around the Blue Ridge Parkway to clear my head. Slowly, the ache in my chest began to dull into something quieter. A tired acceptance. Then the baby shower pictures started popping up on social media, dozens of them, tagged everywhere. Smiling faces, balloons, decorations. Me, standing next to Aubrey, holding her hand as she opened gifts. I looked happy in the pictures. No one could tell anything was wrong. A part of me wanted to comment something snarky. To call her out publicly. But I didn't. I logged off instead. The next real blow came a month later. I was scrolling through Zillow late at night, half distracted, when I stumbled across a listing that looked eerily familiar. Aubrey and Colin had put their house up for sale. The asking price was nearly $150,000 more than they had paid for it 2 years earlier. I blinked, reread the listing. Designer nursery photos front and center, of course. A full write-up about luxury upgrades and meticulous design. The pieces started to click together. They had never been struggling. Not financially, anyway. They had been investing. Improving the house so they could flip it for profit after the baby came. Every dollar they had spent on the nursery wasn't just for the baby, it was part of their plan. And I had funded their perfect baby shower so they wouldn't have to dip into their upgrade money. I felt sick all over again. It wasn't just the money. It was the fact that I had believed I was helping because they needed it. I had given from a place of love. They had taken from a place of convenience. A few days after the listing went up, Aubrey texted again. Aubrey, hey. Hope you're doing okay. Miss you. We're thinking of having a little get-together before the baby comes. Hope you can come. I didn't answer. Later that evening, Malcolm called. She invited me to that thing too, he said. Are you going? No, I said simply. There was a long pause. Good, he said finally. You don't owe her anything. I wanted to believe that. Really, I did. But there's a special kind of guilt that comes from disappointing someone you love, even if they've already disappointed you first. And Aubrey knew exactly how to pull on that guilt. She always had. The next morning, another text. Aubrey, you're really going to hold a grudge over this? I didn't think you were that kind of person. Reading it made my hands shake. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just gaslighting. Making it seem like I was the problem. I closed the message without replying. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the quilt still sitting there, untouched. I ran my fingers over the stitches, neat and tight, each one sewn by our grandmother decades ago. A part of me wanted to give it to her anyway. To cling to some scrap of hope that we could patch things up. That maybe she would realize how much she had hurt me and be sorry. But deep down, I knew better. Some people don't change. They just get better at hiding who they really are. A few days later, my phone rang again. I didn't recognize the number at first, but when I answered, it was Colin. Hey, Clarice, he said awkwardly. Listen, Aubrey's been pretty upset. She says you're mad at her but won't tell her why. Thought maybe I could. I don't know, help? I stayed silent for a moment. I hadn't expected Colin to get involved. I'm not mad, I said finally. My voice sounded flat, distant even to my own ears. I'm just done. There was a pause. Look, he said, choosing his words carefully, I know Aubrey can be a lot sometimes. But she really does love you. You're her sister. I wanted to laugh. Instead, I said nothing. After another awkward silence, he sighed. All right. Well, just think about coming to the get-together, okay? It'd mean a lot to her. He hung up without waiting for an answer. I sat there for a long time, staring at the phone in my hand. Not once did he ask what happened. Not once did he say sorry on her behalf. It was all about appearances. About making sure the family photo still looked good from the outside. The get-together was scheduled for the following Saturday at their house. Malcolm texted me again, asking if I had changed my mind. Me, no. You? Malcolm, he'll know. It felt good to have someone on my side, even if it was just silent support from a few towns over. The night of the party, I stayed home. I cooked dinner for myself, a big messy lasagna that filled the house with warmth, and curled up on the couch with a book. My phone buzzed a few times. Pictures from the party. Aubrey's smiling face, her round belly framed by a sash that said Mama to be. A giant, elaborate cake. Happy guests. I scrolled through them without feeling much of anything. It was like looking at strangers. At around 10 p.m., a text came through. Aubrey, I can't believe you didn't show up. You're so selfish. After everything we've been through, you pick now to turn your back on me? I stared at the message for a long time. Selfish. That word stuck in my chest like a shard of glass. After years of giving and giving, my time, my money, my energy, my love, now, because I finally set a boundary, I was selfish. I put my phone face down on the coffee table and tried to push the anger away, but it bloomed hot and ugly in my chest. I didn't respond. I went to bed. The next morning, there was another message. Aubrey, whatever. I don't need you anyway. That one hurt less. It felt more desperate than cruel. I left it unread. Days passed. The silence between us stretched and thickened until it felt like a wall. I wondered if she thought I would break first. If she thought I'd apologize just to smooth things over, like I had 100 times before. I didn't. I focused on myself. I went to therapy. I took long walks through the Biltmore Estate gardens, breathing in the fresh air, feeling the earth solid under my feet. I met up with friends for coffee, laughing a little more each time. I was learning what it felt like to live without constantly managing someone else's emotions. Meanwhile, the updates kept coming through the family grapevine. Aubrey was stressed. Colin was stressed. The house wasn't selling as fast as they thought it would. They had already taken out loans for renovations, and the debt was piling up. Malcolm called one afternoon. You know, he said thoughtfully, it's funny. I always thought you were the weak one because you kept forgiving her. But maybe you're the strongest. I didn't know what to say to that. It didn't feel like strength. It felt like loss. The house eventually went under contract, but for way less than they were hoping. According to Malcolm, after paying off the mortgage, realtor fees, and loans, they barely broke even. I didn't gloat. I didn't feel happy about it. It just made me sad. They had gambled everything, family included, for a quick win. And they lost more than they realized. One evening, after a particularly good therapy session, I pulled out the quilt again. I sat on the floor, running my hands over the soft, faded fabric. I thought about our grandmother, who had sewn it by hand during long winter nights. I thought about how much love had gone into every stitch. And I realized, giving it to Aubrey now wouldn't fix anything. It wouldn't erase the betrayal. It wouldn't make her understand. It would just be another gift wasted. I folded the quilt carefully and put it back in the linen closet. Maybe someday, I'd find someone else who deserved it. About a month after the house sold, I got an unexpected knock on my door. It was Aubrey. She stood there in a baggy sweatshirt, her hair pulled back into a messy bun, looking small and tired. She wasn't carrying anything, no apology gift, no peace offering. Just herself. I didn't invite her in. I stepped out onto the porch and closed the door behind me. Hey, she said, giving a little shrug, like she didn't know how to start. Hey, I said back, my voice neutral. She shifted her weight from foot to foot. So, I guess you know about the house. I heard, I said. Nothing more. She looked down at the porch floorboards, picking at the sleeve of her sweatshirt. We're moving into a rental in Fletcher, she mumbled. It's smaller. I nodded. Aubrey looked up at me then, and for the first time in a long time, I saw something like real humility in her face. I just wanted to say, she said slowly, I miss you. I waited. I miss us, she went on. And I'm sorry if you think I took advantage of you. That wasn't my intention. If. The word stung, but I didn't show it. I know you're mad, she said. But family's family. We're supposed to forgive each other. I let the silence stretch long enough to make her squirm. Finally, I said, forgiveness isn't the same as forgetting. She opened her mouth like she was going to argue, then seemed to think better of it. I guess I was hoping, she said, that maybe you'd come to the baby's christening. It's next month. Just think about it? I studied her. The old Clarice, the one who couldn't stand making anyone uncomfortable, would have caved right there. Smiled, hugged her, promised to be there. But not anymore. I'll think about it, I said. She looked relieved, like she thought she had won. But what she didn't know was that I had already made up my mind. In the weeks leading up to the christening, I got invitation after invitation. Baby updates. Little hints that they needed help, moving furniture, planning the reception afterward. Aubrey even hinted at needing someone to help cover some last-minute costs. I ignored them all. Instead, I focused on myself. I worked extra hours. I signed up for a pottery class I'd been wanting to take for years. I booked a weekend trip to Charleston with some friends. I didn't respond to any of Aubrey's texts about the christening. The day of the event, instead of attending, I posted a picture of myself on Facebook, standing on a beach, barefoot, smiling, sun shining down. Caption, learning that peace comes from walking away from people who only call you when they need something. I didn't tag anyone. I didn't need to. The picture got a flood of comments from friends and even a few distant relatives. You look so happy. You deserve it. So proud of you for taking care of yourself. Aubrey saw it. I knew she did because a few hours later, she unfriended me. That night, Malcolm called, laughing so hard he could barely get the words out. Did you see Aubrey's meltdown? He said between gasps. Apparently, she had thrown a fit at the christening because hardly anyone showed up. Most of the family had other commitments, they had seen the cracks starting to show, and without me holding everything together, they hadn't bothered bending over backward for her. No fancy gifts. No picture-perfect social media posts. Just a few awkward acquaintances and a very bruised ego. It wasn't the kind of revenge you see in movies. No big screaming matches, no public shaming. Just quiet consequences. She had built a life on using people. And when the well dried up, there was nothing left to draw from. Now, months later, my life feels lighter. I still think about Aubrey sometimes. I wonder if she ever really understood what she did, or if she just sees herself as the victim in the story. Either way, I don't feel responsible anymore. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying the other person. It's about surviving without them. It's about thriving without them. It's about choosing yourself, finally, fully, and never looking back. My sister used me to pay for her baby shower while hiding her luxury purchases. I found out, distanced myself, and when she tried to rope me back in, I simply chose to live my life without her. Watching her deal with the fallout of her actions, without my help, was the most satisfying revenge of all.